5. Hidden salt traps. Seniors must avoid. The silent assassin in your daily meals. Dear viewers, let me ask you something surprising. What if I told you the real threat to your heart, your kidneys, even your independence, isn't your salt shaker, but the healthy food you think is safe? Every day, millions of seniors in the U.S. eat twice as much salt as recommended, without ever tasting it. That's because salt hides quietly in places you'd never suspect. Your morning toast, that comforting can of soup, even so-called heart-healthy frozen meals. It's the perfect silent assassin. It doesn't announce itself. You don't feel it right away. But over time, it damages the walls of your blood vessels, pushes your blood pressure higher and higher, and strains your heart and kidneys until they start to fail. I've watched too many people discover this too late. After a stroke, after a heart attack, after dialysis starts. And the saddest part? Many told me they didn't even use much salt. That's the danger of hidden salt. It's not about how often you pick up the salt shaker. It's about the daily habits you don't question. But here's the good news. You can regain control. Today, I'll show you 5 everyday foods that trap you with hidden salt. And I'll give you practical, simple ways to avoid them without sacrificing taste. Imagine the relief of seeing your blood pressure readings gently drop, the comfort of knowing your kidneys are safe, the freedom of avoiding emergency hospital visits. By watching until the end, you'll gain the knowledge to make small, realistic changes that truly protect your health, without fancy diets, without expensive groceries. So I invite you, please stay with me. Let's learn these 5 surprising traps together. Let's choose a healthier path that preserves our independence, our dignity, and our precious time with family and friends, because you deserve to know where danger hides, and you deserve to live well for many more years to come. Hello, dear friends. My name is Dr. Elizabeth Carter. I'm 82 years old, and I've dedicated over 55 years of my life to caring for seniors as a geriatric specialist here in the United States. I'm not just speaking to you today as a doctor, but as someone who is walking the same road you are. I know the quiet fears you might not say aloud, the worry about your next blood pressure reading, the swelling in your ankles that won't go away, the fear of losing your independence or burdening your family. I've spent decades sitting beside older patients, listening as they told me, sometimes in tears, "But I didn't know, doctor. No one ever told me that everyday foods could do this." I've seen proud, capable women, just like many of you watching now, lose their strength and confidence after a stroke that could have been prevented. I've watched men who worked their whole lives end up in dialysis chairs because their kidneys finally gave out. And I want you to know something important. I don't judge them. I don't judge you. I live with the same temptations, the same habits. I love warm bread, hearty soups, even the occasional slice of pizza. I know exactly how easy it is to think, I don't even use much salt at the table, so I'm safe. But over the years, I've learned where the real danger hides. And I've made it my mission, especially now in my later years, to share this knowledge openly, kindly, and clearly. Because I believe every one of us deserves the chance to make informed, practical choices that can truly change our future. You won't hear me recommend expensive health fads or complicated diets. My advice is grounded in decades of real experience with real people. People who wanted to live well without giving up the foods they love entirely. I'm here today not as an authority figure wagging my finger, but as a caring friend and fellow traveler. I want to guide you gently, to help you see the hidden traps so you can avoid needless suffering. My promise to you is simple. I will speak plainly, with respect and compassion, and I will share only the most practical, proven steps you can take right now to protect your health and keep your independence for as long as possible. Thank you for trusting me. Let's do this together. Let me tell you a story that I think about often. It's about my patient and friend, Walter. He's 79 now. A proud, independent man who worked with his hands his whole life. He was one of those people who always liked to say, "Doctor, I'm not one for fancy foods. I'm simple." When he first came to see me last year, he was embarrassed by the swelling in his ankles. He'd noticed his shoes felt tight, and his legs were leaving deep marks from his socks. He brushed it off at first, thinking it was just age. But when he started feeling short of breath after climbing the front porch steps, he got worried. His daughter finally convinced him to see me. I remember so clearly how he sat in my exam room, arms folded, trying to sound casual. But his voice cracked, a little when he admitted, "Doc, I don't want to end up in the hospital." I took his blood pressure. It was dangerously high. I asked him gently about his eating habits. He looked surprised. "But I barely use my salt shaker," he protested. And he meant it. He never salted his food at the table. He even told me proudly he was good about salt. But when I asked what he ate most days, the truth came out. He lived alone since his wife passed away, and he didn't cook much anymore. He'd have frozen dinners most nights. He liked the convenience. Some boxed mac and cheese. Once or twice a week he'd get pizza delivered or eat at the diner. He'd laugh and say, "Doc, it's just easier that way." I could see the look on his face change as I explained that these meals were full of hidden salt, enough to exceed his daily limit many times over. He didn't taste it, but his body sure felt it. His swollen legs were his kidneys crying out for help. His high blood pressure was his heart straining against extra fluid. I'll never forget the moment his eyes watered and he whispered, "No one ever told me that. I thought I was doing okay." Walter was lucky. We caught it before he had a stroke or permanent kidney damage. We worked together on small, real changes. He started buying lower sodium frozen options, making big pots of simple homemade soup he could freeze himself. He cut back on pizza and learned to ask for nutrition info at the diner. A few months later, he walked into my office smiling. His ankles were normal size again. His blood pressure had dropped. He shook my hand and said, "Thank you, Doc. I want to be around for my grandkids." Walter isn't the only one. I also think of Shirley, 81. She was widowed too, and didn't want to bother cooking for one. She stocked up on canned soups and microwave meals on sale. When she came to me, she was dizzy all the time. Her blood pressure was swinging wildly. She told me, crying, "I don't know why this is happening. I don't even like salty chips or pretzels." She didn't know those simple soups had as much salt as 3 or 4 bags of chips in one serving, or that the healthy frozen meals she trusted were keeping her blood pressure high and her heart working too hard. We sat down and went through her pantry. She learned to read labels. We found lower sodium soups she liked, and she even started using a slow cooker to make stews with fresh vegetables. Within weeks, she felt steadier on her feet. These aren't rare stories. I share them because they're painfully common. Good, honest people paying the price for what they didn't know. That's why I'm here talking with you today. I want you to see these stories in your own life before the damage is done. Because you deserve the chance to make simple, safe changes now, to keep your heart, your kidneys, and your independence for the years ahead. Let's take a closer look at something so ordinary it seems harmless: the bread we eat every day. Now I want you to pause for a moment and really think about something that seems so innocent: plain old bread. Most of us don't think of bread as salty. A slice of toast in the morning, a sandwich at lunch. It feels so harmless, even healthy. But that's exactly what makes it so sneaky. Commercial breads you find at the grocery store are often loaded with salt. It isn't just for flavor. It also helps preserve the bread and improve its texture. Even so-called whole grain or healthy breads can have 300 to 400 milligrams of sodium per slice. That means a simple two-slice sandwich can deliver over 700 milligrams. For older adults who should aim for around 1,500 milligrams a day, that's nearly half your limit in one meal you thought was safe. Most people don't realize this. They tell me all the time, "But doctor, I don't even use the salt shaker." And they're telling the truth. But salt is quietly baked in before you even see it. I want to share a story about my neighbor Helen. She's 77, widowed, lives on her own. She's always been proud of eating light to stay healthy. She'd tell me, smiling, "I just have a simple sandwich for lunch." But last year she came to see me in tears. Her doctor had told her she had stage 2 hypertension. She was shocked. "But I don't eat salty foods," she insisted. We sat down together and walked through her typical lunch. 2 slices of her favorite, healthy, multigrain bread at 350 milligrams each. That's already 700. Add a few slices of deli turkey, another 500 milligrams. A slice of cheese, maybe 200 more. A smear of mustard, another 100. In one small, light meal, she was hitting 1,200 or more milligrams of sodium. When she realized it, her eyes filled with tears. She whispered to me, "I thought I was being good." We worked together on real, practical changes. She learned to read the labels carefully, looking for breads with less than 100 milligrams per slice. She found a no-salt added bread at her local store. At first, she thought it tasted plain, but she learned to add fresh tomatoes, basil, and cracked black pepper for flavor. I also shared a simple homemade bread recipe with no added salt. She started baking it with her granddaughter on Sundays. They'd slice it up and freeze it, so she always had healthier bread ready to go. A few months later, Helen came back for a follow-up visit. She walked in with a big smile. Her blood pressure was finally back in the safe zone. She told me, "I didn't have to give up sandwiches. I just had to be smarter about them." Friends, that's all I want for you. Don't feel you need to give up bread entirely. Just pay attention. Read the label. Choose wisely. Or try baking at home. These small choices can make a huge difference for your heart, your kidneys, and your ability to stay independent and healthy for years to come. I want to share why even simple canned or boxed soups can surprise you with hidden salt. Now let's talk about something that feels like such a comforting, wholesome choice. A nice warm bowl of soup. Many of us grew up with soup as a sign of care. A steaming bowl on a cold day feels healing. And it's so easy to think, soup is healthy. It's mostly liquid. How bad can it be? But here's the truth most people don't realize. Many canned and boxed soups are loaded with hidden salt. That salt isn't just for taste. It preserves the soup for months, sometimes years on the shelf. That convenience comes at a cost. Just one serving of many popular canned soups can contain 700 to 900 milligrams of sodium or more. And let's be honest, who stops at half a can? Most people eat the whole can, easily hitting 1,500 milligrams in a single meal. That's your entire recommended daily limit for sodium in just one bowl. This much salt doesn't just make your blood pressure go up today. Over time, it hardens your arteries, forces your heart to work harder, and makes your kidneys strain to flush out all that excess fluid. It leads to swelling in the legs and ankles, dizzy spells, and eventually to much more serious risks like heart failure, kidney damage, or stroke. I remember a patient of mine, George. He was 81, a widower who didn't like cooking much. He'd tell me, "Doc, I eat light. Just soup for lunch most days." He thought he was being smart and healthy, but one day, he had a mild stroke. He recovered, thankfully, but when we sat down to talk about why, he looked at me and said, "I don't get it. I barely eat anything heavy." We went over his pantry. It was full of canned soups, chicken noodle, tomato, vegetable. He liked them because they were easy. But they were also full of salt. He was effectively drinking liquid salt every day. He was so shocked. I'll never forget his face when he said quietly, "No one told me." We worked out some practical solutions together. He switched to low sodium and no salt added canned soups. He started adding his own herbs, like basil, thyme, garlic, and black pepper, to bring back flavor without salt. He even learned to make a big pot of homemade vegetable soup once a week and freeze it in small containers. A few months later, George came back for a checkup. His blood pressure was lower. He had more energy. He was proud to tell me, "Doc, I'm still having my soup, but it's my own recipe now." That's what I want for all of you watching. Don't think you have to give up soup, but choose wisely. Always read the label. Look for low sodium or no salt added options. And don't be afraid to season it yourself. Fresh herbs and spices can make all the difference. These small, thoughtful changes can help protect your heart, your kidneys, and your ability to stay strong and independent for many more years. I know many of us turn to frozen dinners for an easy solution, so let's look at what's really inside. Now I want to talk about something I know is very tempting for many of us: frozen dinners and boxed meals. I completely understand why they're so popular, especially for seniors living alone. After a long day, or when you're not feeling your best, it's so easy to grab a frozen entree, pop it in the microwave, and have a hot meal in minutes. No chopping, no pots and pans to scrub. It feels like a blessing. But there's a hidden cost. These meals are designed to last in your freezer for months, sometimes over a year. To keep them tasty and shelf-stable, manufacturers load them up with salt and preservatives. It's not just for flavor, it's for preservation. A single frozen dinner can easily have 800 to 1,500 milligrams of sodium. That's often your entire daily recommended limit in one meal. Boxed pasta mixes, instant rice meals, and those popular just-add-water casseroles can be just as bad or worse. Over time, eating these regularly puts tremendous strain on your heart and kidneys. The extra sodium holds onto water in your body, making your blood pressure rise. Your heart has to pump harder, your blood vessels stiffen, and your kidneys struggle to clear the excess fluid. This can lead to swollen feet and ankles, headaches, shortness of breath, and ultimately much more serious problems like heart failure or kidney disease. Let me tell you about Eleanor. She's 75 years old and one of my longtime patients. After hip surgery, she found it hard to stand for long in the kitchen. She told me, "Doc, I don't want to be a burden on anyone, so I just heat up frozen dinners." She thought she was being smart and independent, but when she came in for her checkup, her blood pressure was sky high. She felt tired all the time, and her ankles were so swollen she could barely get her shoes on. Her doctor had to sit her down and explain, "Your blood pressure is dangerously high. These frozen meals are part of the problem." I remember Eleanor telling me with tears in her eyes, "I thought I was doing the right thing. I didn't know." But there's hope and practical solutions. Eleanor and I worked on a plan she could handle. She started making very simple meals at home when she felt up to it, like big pots of vegetable stew or baked chicken with carrots and potatoes. She froze them in single-serving containers. That way she still had ready-to-heat meals, but with much less salt and no hidden preservatives. She also learned to check labels carefully when she did buy frozen options, looking for those marked low sodium or no salt added. She told me proudly one day, "Doc, I still use my freezer, but now it's my cooking in there." That's what I want for you. Convenience doesn't have to mean giving up your health. Take a little time when you're feeling good to make extra portions. Freeze them yourself. Choose lower sodium options when you buy prepared meals. These small, thoughtful changes can keep your blood pressure under control, protect your kidneys, and help you stay strong and independent for many years to come. I want to talk about eating at restaurants or grabbing fast food, and why it deserves a closer look. Now let's talk about something many of us look forward to: eating out. For so many seniors, going to a restaurant isn't just about food. It's a treat, a social event, a break from cooking, or even the highlight of the week. I completely understand that. I enjoy it myself. But there's a hidden risk you might not think about. Restaurant chefs use salt very generously. It's one of their main tools to make food taste good quickly and reliably. Sauces, marinades, dressings, seasonings, even the butter on your bread can be loaded with salt. And they don't have to tell you how much they're using unless you ask. Fast food is even worse. Chains design their food to be craveable, crispy, juicy, savory. And salt is a big part of that formula. A single fast food meal, a burger, fries, maybe a soft drink, can easily contain 1,500 to 2,000 milligrams of sodium or more. That's your entire daily limit in one sitting. The problem is that salt doesn't just leave you thirsty. It holds water in your body, making your blood pressure rise. Over time, it damages your arteries, strains your heart, and forces your kidneys to work overtime. That can lead to swollen ankles, headaches, difficulty breathing, and eventually to serious health events like heart failure or stroke. Let me tell you about Frank. He's 80, retired, and always enjoyed going out to eat with his friends. He told me proudly, "Doc, I only eat out once a week. That's my treat." He didn't see the harm in it. But he wasn't choosing salads or plain grilled fish. He loved the all-you-can-eat pasta nights, the rich sauces, the garlic bread, and sometimes the big combo plates at his local diner. When he came to see me, he was shocked to hear how high his blood pressure had gotten. His ankles were swollen, and he was feeling breathless on short walks. He looked at me and said, "But I'm careful the rest of the week." I explained gently that even one salt-heavy meal can make your blood pressure spike for days. It adds up over time. But the good news is Frank didn't have to stop going out. We worked out a plan. He started asking the server for nutrition information or checking online menus ahead of time. He'd request sauces on the side or ask for less salt in his meal. He chose simpler dishes, like grilled chicken with steamed vegetables instead of smothered pasta or salty casseroles. He even started sharing meals with his friend to keep portions reasonable. He told me later, "Doc, it's still a treat, but now it doesn't treat me badly." That's my hope for you. You don't have to give up the pleasure of dining out. But be smart. Ask questions. Choose dishes with fewer sauces. Don't be shy about requesting less salt. Share a meal if the portions are huge. These small, mindful choices can help you continue enjoying life while protecting your heart, your kidneys, and your independence for years to come. Finally, let's talk about two all-time favorites, pizza and sandwiches. Now let's talk about two of America's favorite comfort foods, pizza and sandwiches. They seem so ordinary, don't they? A nice sandwich for lunch, pizza with the grandkids on Friday night. It's part of our culture, part of family time. I'm not here to tell you to give up those moments, but I do want you to see what might be hiding in them. Pizza and sandwiches can be real salt bombs in disguise. Think about the ingredients. The bread alone can add 300 to 400 milligrams of sodium per slice. The cheese is heavily salted, often adding hundreds more milligrams per serving. Then there are cured meats like pepperoni, ham, or salami. Those are loaded with salt to preserve them and boost flavor. Don't forget the sauces. Tomato sauce, mustard, mayo, even the special house spreads are often packed with salt. When you stack all these ingredients together, one sandwich or a couple of slices of pizza can easily top 1,000 to 1,500 milligrams of sodium. That's your entire daily limit, often in just one meal. All that salt makes your body hold on to extra fluid. It raises your blood pressure, strains your heart, and makes your kidneys work too hard. Over time, this can mean swollen feet and ankles, trouble breathing, and serious risks like heart failure or kidney disease. Let me tell you about Doris. She's 80 years old, a lovely woman with a big family. Every Friday night they'd gather for pizza at her house. She cherished those evenings. It was her way of staying close to her kids and grandkids. But when she came to see me last year, her blood pressure was dangerously high. She complained about swelling in her legs and said she'd been feeling exhausted even after light chores. Her doctor sat her down and told her frankly, "Doris, that pizza's a salt bomb in disguise." She was so surprised. "But doc, it's just a treat once a week," she told me. But that weekly salt overload, on top of everything else she was eating, was enough to keep her blood pressure high all the time. I didn't want her to lose those precious Friday nights. So, we worked on some practical changes. She started ordering thin crust pizza instead of the thick, doughy kind. She asked for extra veggies and less cheese. She cut back on the pepperoni and salty meats, swapping them for mushrooms, peppers, onions. Sometimes, she even made her own homemade pizza with her daughter using fresh ingredients and just a pinch of salt. She told me proudly. It became a family project and everyone actually liked it better. These small changes lowered her blood pressure and helped her keep enjoying her family traditions safely. That's what I want for you. Don't think you have to give up sandwiches or pizza forever. Just be smart about them. Choose simpler breads with less sodium. Load up on veggies. Use lean, unprocessed meats. Go easy on cheese and sauces. And if you can, try making them at home, where you control the salt. These thoughtful choices let you keep the meals and the moments you love, while protecting your heart, your kidneys, and your independence for many more years. Let's take a moment to gently review what we've talked about today, because these are small but truly life-changing shifts. We began by looking at something so ordinary, it's easy to overlook: bread. Just 2 slices can hide more salt than you think, especially the packaged varieties in stores. Simply checking the labels or choosing low sodium or homemade options can make a big difference. Then we talked about canned and boxed soups. These can seem comforting and wholesome, but often have as much salt as an entire day's limit in one serving. By choosing low sodium versions and adding your own herbs, you keep the warmth without the hidden danger. We also explored frozen dinners and boxed meals, which are so tempting for their convenience. But the extra salt and preservatives are there to make them last forever on the shelf. Cooking simple meals at home, even freezing your own portions, helps you control the salt without giving up convenience. We didn't ignore eating out either. Restaurant meals and fast food can be loaded with salt to boost flavor. Even if it's just once a week, those choices can keep your blood pressure high. Asking for less salt, sharing meals, or picking simpler dishes gives you more control. Finally, we looked at beloved favorites like pizza and sandwiches. The bread, cheese, meats, and sauces all stack up. But with thoughtful choices, thinner crusts, more veggies, less cheese, leaner fillings, you can still enjoy these foods without harming your heart. Remember, dear friends, these aren't impossible changes. They're small, mindful steps that can protect your heart, your kidneys, and your independence. Just by paying a little more attention today, you're giving yourself the gift of healthier, safer tomorrows. Dear friends, before we finish today, I want to ask you to do something simple but powerful. After you watch this, please take a moment to go into your kitchen and really look at your pantry or freezer. Pick just one item: a loaf of bread, a can of soup, a frozen meal, and read the sodium content. If you see it's higher than you'd like, think about choosing a lower salt option next time you shop. That one small change today can mean a healthier tomorrow. If you found this talk helpful, I warmly invite you to click subscribe so you'll never miss future videos filled with practical, gentle advice just for you. I share these tips not to scare you, but to empower you to make choices that keep you healthy, independent, and enjoying life. Please also consider clicking like if this was useful. It really helps me know what kind of information you appreciate most. And if you have someone in your life, a friend, a neighbor, a family member, who might benefit from this, I'd be so grateful if you'd share it with them. I truly believe that when we help each other learn, we help each other stay well. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending this time with me today. I appreciate your trust and your company more than you know. Until next time, I wish you strong health, gentle days, and the simple joy of knowing you're taking good care of yourself. Please stay safe and well. I look forward to talking with you again soon.